Hi. So, what are the type of invincibility principles we are going to cover each month in the membership? I hear you ask. Well, I've already got about 40 already that I would like to cover. Um, it's going to be a monthly video and then a live call, and we're going to have some practicing, group practicing on the live calls as well. And I'll answer any questions that you may have regarding the principles. And there are still more coming. Just this week, I've had two amazing insights over my own suffering, and I was having I had a recognition of a projection I had, and I didn't know how to resolve it. And I asked Elizabeth, my guide, for some help, and she gave me this most amazing technique. So there's still more to come. This is going to be an ongoing list, but just to kind of give you an idea, these are, in one way, I would say they are divine principles as well. Becoming invincible is, in a way, returning to your true power. It is living life on your own terms, your own sovereignty. But that doesn't mean you just get to do anything you want. And who cares? That's not what sovereignty is. But this is about consciously choosing the life that you wish for yourself, how you wish to contribute, how you wish to respond to life, how you want to benefit life itself, and what you want to gift life, because you have talent, and they are a gift to others. So these are conscious living principles as well. They are divine principles, they're spiritual principles, and they are also invincibility principles, because this is how we become invincible. So this is in no particular order whatsoever. I've got a long list, and it keeps getting longer by the day. So, as you know, there are 12 months in the year, and I've already got about 40 things that I think are just kind of, there are a core that are really crucial, and then there are others, obviously, which are more nuanced, but they're all valid and they're all really important that we come to terms with and see the truth of them, rather than the untruths that we've been conditioned into. So the principles that we'll be covering will be love, which I just have to say straight away, I've really had a deeper understanding of what love really is. And it's broken down all of my conditioning about what I thought it was. And so I will be sharing a lot of these insights with you on love, because it really is a core principle. And we really have been fed a very wrong story, which creates a huge amount of suffering on this planet, huge amount of trauma on this planet. And it can be resolved when you have the deeper understanding of what it really is. So we will be covering love, not straight away because it's a huge subject, but we will be covering love, joy, peace. These are the top three principles of spiritual growth. They're the top end of enlightenment before you reach enlightenment. So we are covering those, obviously, in great detail. Carrying on, balance, harmony, also very key. Freedom, understanding what freedom really is. We'll be covering what energy is, light energy, especially. We'll be looking at, in such deep detail, on breath and breath work, the divine body as well, and actually the gratitude and the recognition of what the body is and what it does for you, and not bad mouthing it. So a bit of love for the body as well. We'll cover trust and faith, acceptance. I'm looking down because I've written these all down, obviously. I can't remember all the 40 off the top of my head. We'll be covering how to cope with change, resilience, our divine contribution, meaning purpose, passion, what we're here for, our soul purpose, that kind of thing. We will be covering connection. Now, this is a really interesting subject. What connection really is, what it's not, and how we use the word connection, and something like connection, oneness, relationships. These are all kind of bound up into a very interesting part of what we've been conditioned into. And again, we're really going to be delving deep into these concepts so that we don't create suffering for ourselves. And, you know, some of you may have heard me talk about this in meditation classes. The word connection with, the with part, really inhibits and limits your meditation practice. So sometimes the wordings that we use, and it's just because that's how we've been taught language, really doesn't help us. So going really into really deep level with some of these concepts. So divine, so we were looking at relationships as well and what they really are. And again, a great source of suffering, relationships. And we're trying to come out of this suffering, right? We're in great awakening, coming out of suffering with relationships and understanding them on a deeper level. We'll look at movement as well. So related to the body, but movement. We'll look at things like creativity, and what creativity is and how we utilize it and how we limit it unnecessarily and how it kind of works. We'll look at surrender as a concept as well. And within that, there is non-resistance and learning, really truly learning non-resistance to what is, which is one of the great sufferings, is resistance to what is. Even if we just manage that, we'll have done amazing work together. If we as a group can do it, then we should be quite proud of ourselves, right? What else? Knowing and intuition. I know a lot of you are quite interested in developing your intuition, so we'll cover that. We'll cover things like abundance. This is a really great subject. And I just want to say abundance is not just money. And one of the things we will focus on in abundance is this moving away from money as if it's a value, and it has no value intrinsically. So we'll be talking about what abundance really is and how that really, it can lead to money, but that's not, they're not synonymous. So we'll talk really in depth about abundance. We'll cover a bit of conflict resolution. We'll talk about family, controversial subject for many. Death, also controversial subject for many. Oh, we're not hiding away from the big topics in this membership. Oh no. Self-care and self-love are really, again, misunderstood. You think, how can you misunderstand self-care? It's kind of obvious in the self-title. But true self-care, true self-love, what's that really all about? Acceptance. And we will talk about integrity. It's one of my favorite topics. It's something that is very close to my heart, integrity. It's something I personally value a lot. And I don't think there's enough of it in the world. And so we will be covering integrity for sure. We'll cover things like being more present, how to become more present. And what's that? Another word for that is beingness. You know, I love beingness. So we'll definitely be covering that. We'll be covering the value of neutrality. This is really a massive invincibility trait, if you like, or tool or technique, or just way of being in the world. You know, we have been taught that we are our emotions, and that is such a lie. We're really not. Actually, fostering a state of neutrality creates a great sense of peace. And so really learning to detach from our emotions and to observe something without a lot of meaning, taking the meaning out. I just had a personal lesson on this myself, and was gifted an amazing technique from Elizabeth, who really helped me with this. I was blown away. Like I was really struggling with something in my life and I said, I really need help with this, Elizabeth. She gave me this technique and I said, right, I'm going to try it out straight away. And I went through all the things that really still upset me, the things that I wish didn't upset me, but somehow just always niggled at me. And it worked like a charm. So we'll be covering that. From direct experience, processes come. What else will we cover? We'll cover the nature of perfection and imperfection and why that causes us unnecessary suffering. We'll obviously go into things like compassion and loving kindness. Um, we'll also look at, in the same way that we'll look at presence and beingness, we'll also look at doing and action and how we can do and act from a higher perspective, from an invincibility perspective. But doing kind of needs to come out of being. So we'll do being first and then we'll do doing. But doing is still important, but conscious doing, not unconscious doing. So we'll go into that as well. We will look at things like justice. That was an interesting topic that came up as an invincibility principle recently. We will look at passion as well and fierce love. What does fierce love mean? And when does that come into its own? And we will look at, for sure, I think I even promised it would be the second month, so I might have to stick to my promise if I'm in integrity, about identities, which is another great source of suffering. So those are just some of the ones. There will be more that I will be adding as we go along. And the reason why I'm not putting it into a schedule is, like I said before, I believe that we should leave space for whatever arises that feels like the next thing that needs to sort of come through for the group. I need to leave space for that. But so that's why I'm not publishing a schedule, because I think it's important to have that space to respond to the group. And also what's happening in the world often dictates what we're feeling as a group, and therefore to be able to look at that. So there are lots of topics. There's a lot of deep diving to be done. There's a lot of practice to be done. As you will know from me, if you know me at all and my work, I usually go the long, painful way round, and then I look back and I give you the most effortless way I can think of to go the short way. So in all the practices that I do, I look for the easiest path through, I look for the most effortless path through, and I look for simple processes that anyone can do. So we will practice. And the only reason we have to practice, for those of you who don't like the idea of practicing, the only reason we have to practice is because we've been conditioned into an untruth. And therefore, it's the conditioning we're unpracticing. It's always like, I often say, although I've named the membership Becoming Invincible, technically we're invincible already. It's just our conditioning that makes us not so. So it's almost a process of unbecoming rather than becoming, which is kind of the spiritual path. It is releasing and letting go of the untruths, and then what's left is truth. So we are on a path. It is a process. We'll go through different stages. Everyone goes through the different stages of evolutionary growth, and we are no exception. There's no skipping to the end, but we are trying to find the most graceful, most beautiful, most fun way along the path. So if that sounds good to you, then I hope to see you as a Pioneer member. The Pioneer membership is open, and it has all the great benefits of being a Pioneer member. So please do join up. That membership offer runs out at the end of the year. So you've got plenty of time. I'm not pressurizing you. You've got plenty of time to decide. But at the end of the year, that membership price will change. It will go into an annual pricing, which is more expensive with less benefit. So I encourage everyone to take advantage of the price benefit and the benefits available in that membership offer. And if for no other reason, because I'm looking forward to seeing you. So join the membership, come into the community, have a chat with people, introduce yourself. And the first video will come out on the first Wednesday of October. And it will be, the videos will be sent to you every first Wednesday of the month, and the live calls will be on the third Wednesday of the month. And so you get a couple of weeks to practice and absorb and integrate what you've heard and seen on the video, and then we will practice and I'll answer any kind of questions, and we'll go from there. So thank you very much, and hope to see you in the membership soon.